Pilot Bernard from the 65th Force Support Squadron, and welcome to Lajes Now. Today we're coming to you from the Airmen and Family Readiness Center, and we have a guest who is visiting us from Aviano, Italy. Oh my goodness. And you're Master Sergeant Lark Dahl, and you are an in-service recruiter. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm in-service reserve recruiter.
Reserve recruiter, okay. Right. And so you recruit for Palace Chase and Palace Front.
Yes, both programs.
Both programs, okay. And what are they? What's Palace Chase?
Palace Chase is a program for airmen that are thinking, I've done half of my initial enlistment and I'm thinking I would like to serve out the rest of my enlistment in the Air Force Reserve. So they could talk to me to apply. Air Force Personnel Center will decide at the end ultimately if they're going to release them from their contract.
Okay, so then in this particular case, an individual would go back to civilian life.
Correct.
And serve out their commitment in terms of their service through the through the Guard.
Through the Air Force Reserve or the Air National Guard.
Okay,
That's okay.
Okay.
We both have the same program. We both have that program.
It's the same program.
Correct.
Okay. So what are the qualifications for that? What does an individual have to do?
Okay, they need to have served out at least almost half of their initial enlistment. They can apply 6 months early, not be in any trouble, good PT scores, good EPRs, and it's better if their career field is overmanned, but AFPC ultimately determines if they're able to release them or not, based on that.
Okay, so that's Palace Chase.
That's Palace Chase. You're asking to be released early, correct.
Okay, and Palace Front? Palace
Front is basically a fancy name of saying, my time with the Air Force has been great. I would like to transition to civilian life, and I'm going to talk to the Air Force Reserve about separating. So they don't really need to do anything as far as talking to AFPC. It's just coming to me and saying, I'm moving back to my home state, whatever that may be, or I'm staying overseas. I would like to transition to the reserve. I get some initial documents from them, and then they tell me where they want to go, and I find them a position. Very easy transfer.
It's an easy transfer. Okay. Well, where's some of the benefits, in serving in the reserve?
Some of the great benefits, medical and dental are a huge one. With the Affordable Care Act now being instituted, it's mandatory people have medical. Medical is expensive.
Right.
So good thing about the reserve is it's $54 for an individual. You don't have to go on base to get your care any longer. TRICARE provides some of your network. So if you live far from a base, that alleviates some of that pressure.
Okay.
Dental is $12 for an individual. You definitely cannot beat that. And getting a civilian dentist also. If you have a family, it's no more than $220, and that's for one family member or 5 family members.
Okay.
Low cost, the catastrophic cap is $1,000. So if anything ever happens, and an ambulance cost could be $4,000.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
Anything happens, people have children, invincible. So, a cost to the doctor if they hurt themselves in x-rays could, be sometimes $20,000, $30,000. You pay the $1,000, the Air Force Reserve will cover the remaining of it.
Okay, so there's the medical benefits.
Medical's great.
And what about education benefits? Are there educational benefits
Absolutely.
as well? Okay.
TA is the same thing as active duty. We cover 100% tuition assistance.
Okay.
The application standards are no different. We have an additional GI Bill, so they can use all those same things. They can use their post 9/11 GI Bill, and still be able to serve in the reserve. Nothing changes for you that way. Retirement is huge right now.
Okay.
Most people, if they serve, all their active duty time rolls in to the reserve time. So if you serve 6 years and you continue to serve the remainder of your time in reserve, at 20 years you can say, you know what, I'm done, thank you. The Air Force has been great. You don't get your retirement until 60, but by that time you've been working a civilian career, so you're going to ultimately end up with 2 retirements. It's not.
Right. So if somebody is interested in more information, how do they get in touch with you?
The best way to get in contact with me is to email, just because I cover 6 different bases. In email, I get back to you pretty clearly. On the global, my name's pretty easy. 4-letter first name, Lark, L-A-R-K, and my last name, Dahl, D-A-H-L.
Okay. Now, when military members are in the process of separating from the military, do you automatically contact them with this information, or how is that initial contact made?
For Palace Chase, I'm not going to know that information, so the member will contact me. They just let me they're interested, and we go through the checklist. For somebody that's separating, normally about 6 months out from their date of separation, I get a list that says this person's contacted, just because it's mandatory that they see me. So normally I contact them. But sometimes people do slip through the cracks. So if they know that they're separating, it's on their checklist on virtual, so they have to contact me.
Okay.
Just makes things a lot easier. everybody has to come and talk to me. So
Right, okay. So the benefits sound tremendous. I mean, you have medical benefits, the dental benefits, you can work towards your retirement, and there's educational benefits as well. Commissary benefits?
BX, gym, you can use ITT, anything you can do in base active duty, you can do as a reservist. There's nothing that hinders you or restricts you from using complete base access.
And that is when you're actually serving as reserve, or is that all the time?
All the time.
Oh,
yeah, if
okay.
you're doing your 1 weekend a month, or we also have other programs reserved besides traditional reservists. But if you're serving in that capacity in the reserve, you can use the base anytime you want. If you live by the base, I mean, when I was serving as traditional reservist, I lived by McCord. I used that gym because it was cheaper than having to buy a gym membership. It was free. So
wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really wonderful opportunity. Are there any misconceptions about being a reserve member that you've heard that you might like to clear up?
For the reserve, I think people always compare us with the Guard. And we are very similar.
Right.
And nothing bad about the Guard. The Guard's a great sister service. One thing about the reserve, we're a major command of the Air Force. A lot of people don't know that. We have two kinds of positions that are part-time positions. We have the traditional, which is your weekend warrior, your 1 weekend a month, your 2 weeks a year. Everybody knows the advertisement. But we also have a program called IMA. It stands for Individual Mobilized Augmentees. And what they do is they work for active duty. They do the same 39 days a traditional reservist does, but they can do it all at once. Being a reservist, you don't have to live in the same state you serve your duty in. We don't move you, we don't PCS you, but if you live in Florida and you want to do your duty in Georgia, because that's where they have the job that you want to do, fantastic. You just have to show up. So a lot of people think that, I have to live in the state.
Right.
You don't.
Right.
You don't have to live in the state.
I think I was one of those people who thought that.
No.
Let me ask you one last question.
Sure.
And the benefits are really, I think, quite exciting. Are there additional training opportunities?
Absolutely.
So then you can use the training that you get as a reservist and maybe apply it to a civilian job, or maybe you want to change your civilian job, and this is a good way of doing that as well.
That's a great question, and absolutely. The Air Force Reserve is not restricted by critical AFSCs. So, for example, I've had 3 career fields. And so I could apply any of them to a civilian career. I was a paramedic. I cross-trained into be wing safety, which is OSHA stuff and doing inspections. They offer you to be able to get the certifications. So anything you do in the Air Force, you can transition. We offer great cross-training opportunities. So if you always wanted to be HVAC and you want to be air conditioning, we'll send you to school for that.
Oh my gosh.
Help you your civilian career. So that's the benefits of being active duty or being reserved. The Air Force always offers you opportunities to use in the future. We just help you further that.
So you get the best of both worlds, of both the civilian world and the military world.
Absolutely.
So you get additional money, you get training, educational benefits, medical, dental, commissary, BX, and you can do it wherever in the States and Puerto Rico.
We have, the Guard has Puerto Rico. We have positions in Germany. We have in all of USAFE and PACAF.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
yes. Okay. We don't do the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. That's the Guard.
That's the Guard. Okay.
But ours
I'm still confused.
That's okay, and that's okay. That's just clearing up misconceptions.
All right.
But no, we have PACAV and USAFE positions, and those are the IMA positions. And that's, like I said, where we differ from the Guard. They don't have IMA.
Okay.
So if you have an active duty spouse, for us, you can transfer anywhere you want, just because there's always a reserve position available usually. If they're serving overseas in PACAF, we can get you a position in PACAF. You serve in USAFE, we have positions in USAFE. So
it's such a great deal, and I want to thank you for the time that you spent with us and really clarifying some of the misconceptions that I certainly had about the difference between the reserves and the Guard. And we hope that you enjoy your stay while you're here at Lajes, and then we will certainly make sure that people know how to get in touch with you if they want more information about the opportunities.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a real honor to serve the airmen here at Lajes.
Thank you
so much. Definitely a privilege.
So as we like to say,
Ciao from Lajes Now.
Thank you.